Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into this. This is going to be a collective message. The collective message is not zodiac specific. We'll see what comes out, what zodiacs come out. I did have a Five of Wands, but that's not from this deck. So we're just going to put that one back. But just bear in mind, there was something unexpected trying to hop on into this. I don't feel compelled to keep it, though, so we're not going to. Ace of Swords sideways. Well, maybe that Five of Wands does have a place because this says, I don't know. True? Yes, no, cutting this out of my life? I don't know. Normally, this would be very decisive. Sideways, it's like there's truth and there's lies. There's yes and there's no's. This is not very direct. Ten of Wands. Okay, maybe it's because a character cannot make a decision just yet. They're in the process of saying, okay, before I can think clearly, before I can make a good choice, I have to first get to the point where I'm like, all right, let me lay down some fear, guilt, shame, remorse. Sorry, guys, I just had a sneezing attack. If you hear me snuffling, that's because I'm still recuperating. We have the Fool card upright. So we have strong Aries here. We may have a divine masculine who's trying to make the decision. Do I let something go or do I take this brave leap in a new direction? It feels like he hasn't known what to do for a while. But as he lays down some kind of burdens, and we'll ask about those burdens in just a second, he's pretty much revved up and saying the only way to move forward is to just do it, right? You just got to go for it. But he's still sitting here, which, his actions belie what he seems to know in his head. So I don't see somebody taking an action right now. Let me ask, what are the things that you had to drop? What are the obstacles and the pressures that you had to lay down? Six of Pentacles, it was still either under some sense of guilt or shame about I still have to give to this other person. I have to give to this other situation. I have to, if I walk away from this or that, it's become accustomed to me being there and giving, then that's going to make me feel terrible because I know that they won't be pleased if I lay down the burden of continuing to engage. We have a Three of Cups. I definitely feel like they were still giving their energy possibly to an entire family group. Maybe they were carrying a lot of heavy life burdens on behalf of a whole group. They could have multiple sisters and they were being responsible for managing all kinds of stuff in the family. They could have been someone who was just expected to remain in a scenario and keep giving even though there was nothing but conflict. I kind of feel like they weren't being treated very well, even though there was a high expectation of them to remain and keep giving, giving, giving. A lot of conflict. How is it that they're going to lay down this burden so that they don't feel like they have to keep doing this? Because this is all about them leaving. I mean, this whole storyline is about a divine masculine who has not known, how do I put an end to this scenario that I'm in where I give, give, give. Maybe it's family. Maybe it's, still having to attend to an ex, even if it's like, well, I'm not with you, but because you were my sister's friend, that made it harder for me to walk away because then, my sister would have been mad at me, the ex would have been mad at me, or maybe even though it was there was never freedom from having to give to this, even though it was tons and tons of conflict. We got the Eight of Cups in the reverse. How is it that he's finally walking away from this? It's weird because it's saying he has to go back to something else. There could be a bit of a get out of jail free card going on here. Maybe it's hey, listen, the circumstances of life are shifting and I need to walk away to, go take a job someplace else, or, life things are changing and I have to return to some other area. That's where the work is. It feels like he's finding a way to exit, but it has to do with going back to something. We've got Hanged Man sideways. In truth, this is something he's wanted to do for a long time, but again, hasn't known how to say it. Where are you going back to? I don't know why. My first impression is I can argue that it has to be some kind of I got to go back for a job. It is about loss. I have to return to something where I lost something. So it could be like, I got to go back to school. School's going to take me someplace else. I got to leave to go and, world. It's definitely about, I have to leave. I have to move. I have to go someplace else. Now I don't have to feel guilty about it because, it's imperative that I move on. So let's put it in this context. We may have a divine masculine who was still kind of through family pressures, still in a situation with an ex, even if this is like coerced into continuing to give. And it was not a good situation. It was not a happy situation, but there was this energetic coercion because it's like, well, until there's a reason that is bigger than his own desires that would say, well, I have to go, I've got to go and move away because I have no choice. That's where the job takes me. Now it's like, okay, there's a reason for him to get away from the family, and they can't disagree because, well, obviously you got to work. There's something about, he has to move far away, and it's because of a loss. That's why I feel like he lost a job. He lost something. He may have to reinvent himself career-wise. It's almost like this huge loss that he's experiencing. I feel like he has to go back to school, go back. Let me look at that card closer. I feel like he has to go back to school or go back and, okay, he has to go back, that's for sure, but that ain't where he's going. That's not the real reason he's going. He's going back someplace or going back to someone. He immediately thinks he has a chance now to go back to a person that he loves. There's that Fool again. What is he telling the other people as he's laying down the burdens? What is it that he's announcing? What is his reason for leaving? 9 of Wands. I don't think he's lying, but I do think he's laying it on the line a little bit and saying, look, this has not been a good situation for me for a long time. You all have wanted me to be here, have kind of insisted that I had to be here. There's been nothing but conflict. It's draining me. I've been in a karmic cycle. I've lost a job. I've lost all kinds of things because in truth, this doesn't work for me. So I have to go, and I'm going to go far away, and I'm going to go back to some other plan that I had for my life. I don't think that he's exactly lying to whoever this group is, but he's saying, I'm freaking exhausted. I've reached a point where I'm going to start making some better choices in my own life. I have to do that. I have a right to do that. I've had a lot of losses and a lot of conflict here. So I'm going to go ahead and go, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. So it is actually way more straightforward. See, I thought maybe he was starting to like work up a lie, like, hey, I lost my job. I'm going to have to go back to school to learn a new craft. That means I'm going to be leaving the state. I'm going to be traveling someplace else. But in truth, the secret real motive for leaving is he's got somebody on his mind, somebody sweet, somebody loving, somebody that he wishes he could return to. But I don't think he's actually lying about this. I mean, he may not be telling them this bit, but he's definitely freeing himself of the obstacle, the burden of, I have to stay, everybody expects it of me. He has been having loss after loss after loss. I feel like he's been having a heavy, like karma where many things in his life have not been going well because he kept staying in the wrong place when everything in him said, go, go, go. I should leave. I should leave. He is so ready to take this leap. Let me just ask, what have you been thinking all this time about that Queen of Cups? The Devil. The Devil. I don't know if he stayed where he was because of a toxic attachment to cash, money. If it was more or less he had to pay his way out of a connection, or if he was obsessed with the Queen of Cups, but also equally obsessed with, I have to have more money to offer. I have to. 7 of Wands, 4 of Wands in the reverse. It was always, he'd think of her, and then it would be like this obsessive thought process with all this blockage to why he can't marry her. When in truth, the biggest blockage was he was still someplace else, right? He was still giving elsewhere. Well, you're not ever going to be able to, give 100% of yourself, or maybe even save up enough money to move in a different direction if you're continuously investing someplace else, would be my thought. There's the deck I want. Why were you continuing to give to that other place? I still don't quite get that. Oh, Four of Wands, Five of Swords. Okay, so they were still married, plain and simple. They were still married, and it was an absolute nightmare. They were not married to the right person. It was nothing but conflict. Well, here's the thing. If you were already married, you really didn't have any business trying to go get with that Queen of Cups anyway, now, did you? So to be like all bummed out, like, oh man, this is so miserable. I'm married, but I want to, because I'm already married, that's why I can't marry this other Queen of Cups. And it's like, well, yeah, that's how that works. That's totally how that works. But being obsessive about, let's go back over to your feelings toward the Queen of Cups. Two of Swords, he tried to let her go. He tried to cut her out of his life because he couldn't marry her because, hey, he was already married. Knight of Swords, he swiftly stopped talking to her, but this is such a massive contradiction. He is like wanting to race toward her all this time, but instead he probably wrote a million letters that he didn't send. This is swallowing his sword. This is not saying a word so quickly, wanting to race forward, but then to say absolutely nothing. He may have been on the cusp of reaching out to her again and again and again over this course of time. Nine of Pentacles sideways. Again, if only I were single. If I can't reach out to her because I'm not single. Spot on. You cannot go get with somebody else when you still have another connection. You don't get to do that. Okay, but at this point, you finally have laid down whatever burden, whatever reason you stayed. You're finally putting an end to that. Are you getting a divorce? Because you still can't go and approach that Queen of Cups if you're not divorced. King of Wands, Ten of Wands. I'm separating. I'm going away. I'm making the announcement. Still, at 10 is closing a cycle, though. So I would say yes. He's literally physically leaving. He's moving. He's going away, and he's announcing it. This is the end. I go here now. Okay, so he's going to be branching off, separating off, severing that connection of the past. And then he's asking himself, can I take that leap of faith? I'm going to say toward the Queen of Cups. Are you really taking that leap toward the Queen of Cups? Oh, God, the Fool again. Okay, so yes, yes, and yes. And he's doing this soon. This is like tomorrow. This is, I'm going to follow. Oh, my God, I finally did it. I finally severed that connection. I'm no longer considered to be a married individual. And I'm moving out. I'm leaving. It is official. Here I go. I've got my little suitcase. I am coming up out of the grave. I am coming back to life, and I am pursuing. Everything is transforming. And because this is a new dawn, that's why I'm like, God, I feel like this is like tomorrow. Three of Cups. Tomorrow, I take a leap of faith toward the person my heart has wanted all this time. So basically, there's always been a third party, but here's the ironic thing and the plot twist in this. The third party was the Queen of Cups. She was an energetic third party who was always on his heart, always on his mind. She's the one he's had eyes for all this time. And I feel really bad for whomever he was married to, simply because, maybe they were horrible together. Obviously there's a lot of Five of Swords, a lot of fighting and all of that. But to be present with the person that you're married to, but be wishing to be with someone else and be spying on someone else and be watching somebody else that you wish you were with. I feel bad for whomever that marriage partner was. Let me just ask about her. How's she going to handle the separation here? Lovers sideways. It's going to become pretty clear. Like, I don't know. She may have another lover too, though. This says both of them share the fact that, you know what? I can find better than you. Like, I'm sorry to say it that way, but maybe that was the energy within their marriage. You know what? There's other people that would treat me better than you are. I like other people better than you. This almost hints that they both had infidelity. To me, they both would have chosen someone else. And they both even knew that they were in love with other people. So I feel like it's going to be a breath of fresh air that these two are actually divorcing. Okay, back over to, you are now making this tremendous leap toward this Queen of Cups. The World card, he's hoping it's not too late. In the nick of time, he's hoping it's not too late, because this is who he wants to marry. He is hoping that it's He's moving to wherever she is also. And I definitely feel like she is in a whole different like province, state, maybe country. You know, she's sitting on the globe. So, and I have to say, I think that the Queen of Cups life has been pretty darn good. She sits in this very serene throne, you know, where she's got all of the quartz, excuse me, amethyst crystal. She may live somewhere by the ocean. She's sitting on top of the world here. So I think her life has actually been really good. I don't know. Do you still want him at all? Queen of Cups, sideways cards. Four of Pentacles, Three of Wands. She's like, I have no idea if they're still tangled up with somebody else financially. I don't see a future with them because I'm not bringing that dirty laundry into my world. This would be about the future. This Four of Pentacles is actually like somebody who is holding on to somebody for money. She doesn't really believe that they're free, so it's a moot point for her. Anybody who's still dealing with someone else financially, no. I don't think they can have financial ties to an ex anymore either. But does she think of them? She does. And she says, they seem like, I know this isn't a Two of Cups card, but I always want to read it that way because we see two halves. And at this bone deep level, they are two halves of the same butterfly. This has been a transformative and could have been a very balanced love story, but she wasn't dealing with somebody who had, you know, an unfinished marriage. I don't know if she got together with them. Let me ask, did you get together with them before they were married or what? Nine of Wands. If so, it was very, very brief and she cut them right out of her life as soon as she found out, or she said, nothing can happen here. No matter if I'm drawn to you, I'm cutting you out of my life. So she basically cut him out of her life. Did you know he was married then? Strength card upright. I'm going to say if she's really, really honest with herself, yes, because she probably got a good, strong intuition being a Queen of Cups and then coupling that with the Strength card. It was like, well, I can tell he's wrestling with other things and I want to have the 10 of Cups. I kind of think that this was like, oh my God, I'm meeting the right person, but they're already married to the wrong person. And until that connection dissolves, then this is a no-go zone. That's just how it is. I feel like it was just very straightforward. Are you going to be pleased that he is returning? Knight of Pentacles, it's been a long time. 10 of Swords and the Star. On one hand, as long as this has taken, if it took this long to end everything completely, like this whole thing has to be sewn up, good and proper and tidy, that would be her wish, actually. That they would leave that whole life behind, all of it, be done with it, have no more complications, and then be able, willing, and ready to transfer into her world, however far away her world may be. That would be her wish. So I actually think she's going to be very happy to see that this is indeed what's going on. Whew. All right. Well, then that's it. I mean, that's a pretty darn good thing because he's headed into her world and she is willing and wanting this still. Got lucky on that one. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing.